Qatar and other countries are fully aware that if Iran collapses, they may be the next for the Israel. They also know that after Iran, Israel will turn its attention to Syria. For that reason, they do not want to stand in a position.
How long are we going to continue this propaganda?
Let me, Ayal, let me. I didn't cut your words.
Because I was not engaged in anti-Qatar propaganda. There is a lot to say about Qatar.
Please let me finish my word. We know that very well. When it comes to Israel, whether you are Sunni or Shia, that does not make difference. Just as Israel didn't care that the civilians it's subjected to an open genocide in West Bank and Gaza.
Yeah. Well, no. Dr. Abdulkadir, welcome on stage.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Hello to everyone. And your question was about Gulf studies and especially Qatar. Let me start with the position of Qatar about the war. The Gulf countries were subjected for many years to Iran's attack, as we know. Iranian provocations and threats carried out by Iran through Iran proxy forces. Yet, despite all of this, they do not want to enter a war on behalf of Israel or the United States of America. They know that this is a part of a broader strategic design of the United States and of America and Israel, and they are making it clear that they will not fall into this trap. Actually, Qatar, for the last 2-3 weeks, were in coordination with other countries like Turkey. Qatar was coordinating with Iranian side and American side to declare its neutrality. Qatar too recently reaffirmed its neutrality in the conflict. That is why life in Qatar is returning to normal nowadays. The airlines are resuming flights. Daily life is normalizing again. As you know, Israel bombed Hamas in Qatar, in Doha, Hamas office, right in the middle of the negotiations. And it was a disgraceful and utterly immoral attack in every respect. And it failed, of course, because during the negotiations, you are bombing the negotiators. And nobody can defend this. This is not normal. And Qatar and other countries are fully aware that if Iran collapses, they may be the next for the Israel. At the same time, they are conscious of the refugee crisis that could spread from Iran. They also know that after Iran, Israel will turn its attention to Syria. For that reason, they do not want to stand in a position.
How long are we going to continue this propaganda?
Let me, Ayal, let me. I didn't cut your words.
Because I was not engaged in anti-Qatar propaganda. There is a lot to say about Qatar.
Please let me finish my word.
Ayal, let him finish the point. I'll give you right of response.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's true. Please let me just express my feeling and my ideas, and this is my right. For that reason, they do not want to stand in a position that would in any way enable Israel of expansion. Yes, actually, the Iranian regime has limited credibility and support among the public, but that does not mean Iran has none at all. For that reason, I don't think without any military operation on the ground, foots on the ground, it is not possible, I think, to change the regime. So the United States of America and Israel knows that. They know that they cannot change this regime, which is cruel for me also, because they have killed millions of people, Sunni Muslims in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Syria and other places. But without any military operation, I don't think this regime will change. And the United States of America, actually, they don't have a macro plan for what comes next. And I want to actually speak about the war crimes, because it has been discussed more and more during these discussions. We know that very well. When it comes to Israel, whether you are Sunni or Shia, that does not make difference. Just as Israel didn't care that the civilians it's subjected to an open genocide in West Bank and Gaza.
Yeah. We're not. No. Allow me.
Yeah.
We don't want to go into this. We don't want to go into this. We
why?
have hashed that discussion a million times.
Actually, I have the right to ask why. For example, why we are talking about Iranian? Okay, you can ask your question then. I will try my best. Actually, Qatar is much more near to Turkey than Saudi Arabia. But nowadays, after some developments in the region, as we see in Yemen, for example, Saudi Arabia and Turkey and Pakistan and Qatar and Kuwait and Bahrain even, there is and Syria and even Afghanistan, you can see a huge, much more great alliance in the region. And it is not difficult to imagine or to think against whom this kind of agreed alliance is being created, because the Gulf countries and the Muslim countries, they are afraid that after
Abdulkadir, don't you think that those countries understand also that a perpetual conflictual conflict with Israel is not to the benefit of the region?
Who started this war? Actually, I want to ask you one neutral question, please. The real question that must be asked is here: why is a nuclear power portrayed as a threat to humanity when it is in the hands of some, for example, Iran, yet seen as a dove of peace when it is in the hands of Israel? Tomorrow, for example, if Israel or United States of America threatens other Muslim countries by saying you cannot possess nuclear capability, you cannot have ballistic missiles, you cannot produce fighter jets, who will stop them? That is
Do you mind if I answer that? Do you mind if I answer that, James?
Yes, I will, but I want to ask him a counter question just before. Doesn't Pakistan have a nuclear weapon right now? Don't they have a deal with Saudi Arabia to use their nuclear forces if they need to? Isn't Saudi Arabia buying 99% of its weapons from the US, and they even bought F-35? Like all of those,
they are giving Saudi Arabia some ammunition or some technical capabilities, but they don't let other Muslim countries to produce these capabilities by themselves. Only Turkey is creating and producing their guns, their missiles, and their drones. So we have seen some coup have been prepared against Turkish government before, and at the very center of the coup attack in Turkey in 2015, the main idea was that Turkey should not produce its own guns and drones and its own defense forces.
Because Iran, for the past 47 years, every day, every morning, in every school, they say death to America and death to Israel.
And Israel is killing innocent Gaza.
Would you mind?
No.
Would you mind finish? Would you mind finish? Would you mind me finish?
Okay, will you give me the right to speak also, please?
Thank you, Ayal. I'll go to you, and then I'll go to Abdulaziz.
Okay, I have to respond to the claim that next Israel will conquer Syria. Israel doesn't have the manpower to hold large territory, even in Gaza. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in a different country, which actually has been instigating the Muslim Brotherhood ideology and all sorts of instability all over the Middle East, and actually financing the Muslim Brotherhood also in the US. This country is called Qatar. It's 300,000 citizens, but then there are 2 million slaves there. This is really an apartheid country, and I think that if we are to get rid of the big problem in the Middle East, which is the Islamic regime of Iran, the next source of instability in the Middle East that will need to be taken care of is indeed Qatar.
Sorry, the letters.
Actually, Qatar is a mediating country in the region. Therefore, it must remain neutral. Qatar does not support terrorism. When the time comes, Qatar helps reconcile the United States of America and Afghanistan, Taliban. When Israel is in need, it is forced to go to Qatar. The head of Mossad went to Qatar repeatedly both during the Lebanon war and during the Gaza crisis. What was the purpose? Why the Mossad chef was visiting Doha? Because Qatar is a leading country in the field of the conflict resolution. Therefore, accusing Qatar of financing terrorism is precisely the language used by Israel, the same Israel that bombed Qatar during a period of peace negotiations. Qatar also served as a mediator during 2008 between Israel and Lebanon war. And I want to ask a question. Is this the way you are thinking to Qatar? Does not change the reality that Mossad chef was going to Doha just last year, even a few months ago, to ask Qatar to negotiate between them and between Gaza. And other United States of America also, they went to Qatar for years, and Taliban opened an office in Doha, and they, at the end of the conclusion, they went to an agreement between United States of America and Afghanistan, because Qatar is a neutral country. Look, I keep listening to analysts who objected by saying, don't speak politically, don't speak ideologically. But in reality, they are openly carrying ideological ammunitions for a political agenda while speaking as if they are somehow apolitical. Okay, actually, Iran regime, they killed lots of people in the region, millions of the people in the region. That is true. Actually, this war between Iran and Israel, I mean, we have some problems, some discussions, and some conflicts between Iran, Sunni and Shia. But we can solve our problems ourselves. We don't need anybody to come overseas to bomb our countries and then to solve the problems. Actually, war itself is a politic. Presenting war as if it were apolitical is meant to defend one side's argument. You are speaking in an unmistakably ideological way. If we are discussing the war between Israel and Iran, you cannot separate it from Gaza. That is cunning the discourse designed to legitimize Israel's occupation in Gaza. There is also another issue. Israel's human rights violations did not begin in October 7. They began in 1948. Choosing when to begin a story always serves as a political purpose. We have had our dispute.
Pure propaganda. It has nothing to do with what the space is about.
Eyal, why are you cutting my verse, please? Eyal, very much.
Because you are not speaking about the subject of this space. Qatar is the firefighter that is also the arson. You put the flames and then you claim that you are going to take them down. This is what your country has been doing to the Middle East for years. And after Iran, we will need to deal with the instability that you create in the Middle East by financing the Muslim Brotherhood and spreading their ideology. This will have to be dealt with. You are a host to the Muslim Brotherhood, Sheikh Kardawi. You're the one financing the Muslim Brotherhood all over the Middle East.
Okay,
and
guys.
By saying that, I said that Israel will occupy Syria, but Eyal told me, or some other people, they told me that that is not possible because Israel has enough manpower. But what I mean that Israel's objective is to destabilize the region because they bombarded after revolution 500 places.
Stop this bullshit.